And I'm telling you that it was just so convicting. And if anybody wants to be a leader and they think that I'm just being religious in what I'm saying, I just really challenge them to read the teachings of Jesus and you tell yourself what kind of a leader you would be if you actually did what Jesus said.
Hey, before we jump into the podcast, we want to thank all our donors and supporters who make the Today Count show possible. It's through your generosity that we're able to shape leaders through this content and this podcast. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow wherever you find yourself coming across this content. All right, let's get to the podcast.
Welcome back to the Today Count show. I'm your host, Jim Piper. Today I have as my guest, Dr. Daniel Tataje. Did I get that right? Tataje. I didn't get it right. Tataje. And I've been delighted to meet Daniel, a little bit more about him, do some research on him. This is a podcast about leadership. It's a podcast about business. It's a podcast about faith. The way that I always say it is we kind of integrate business, psychology, theology, philosophy. We kind of integrate all those things together because they're important tools for us as human beings, and particularly those of us who are leaders and say that we care about people even more than our product. So welcome, Daniel. I'm glad to have you with us.
Likewise, I'm super excited to be here and been looking forward to this conversation for a long time. So I'm happy that the day is here.
Well, you have an interesting story. I mean, you are a businessman. You are a dentist by schooling and by practice, at least at one point during your life. You are an author, and so you are becoming a leader with influence, not only where you live, but because of technology now. Of course, it can spread much farther than where we technology, right? It has its good and its bad.
Yeah.
After you and I get done, I have another podcast today where we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of artificial intelligence, and so I'm looking forward to that as well. So you went to dental school. Let's start there. What caused you to move in that direction? Actually, let's back up even before that. If I remember right, you're originally from Peru. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't we start from there? Peru. How did Peru dental school? Now you live in Wisconsin.
That's right.
What does that look like?
Yeah. Well, it's a long story, right? But it's just funny how have you heard this phrase? If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just exactly what it is. It's just my plans were not like, how did I end up in Wisconsin is a long story, but yeah, I was always passionate about dentistry. I love dentistry because it was the fact that we combine science and art to just improve someone's life or function. It's just fascinating to me. And when I went to dental school, I fell even more in love, knowing and actually doing the cases, and the fact that we could just take someone out of pain right away using our knowledge, our hands. But I saw beyond that, always was very attracted to the personal relationships that we build in dentistry, right? So we see people and we see people over time, and it's just you build relationship with families. They bring their family members, and just it becomes a personal relationship over time, which is beautiful. How did I end up in Wisconsin? It's a long story. First, I came to the U.S. for school. Always wanted to just go back to Peru to practice dentistry there, but during my time here, I met my wife, and here, and I decided to stay another year. Then we got married, and I ended up settling here. We moved up to Wisconsin 20 years ago, mainly because my wife grew up in Florida, and the Miami area, and she didn't want to raise a family down there in a large city. So we're looking for a place to settle up north. And at the time, look, my family, I had some family here. My sister was here in Madison, Wisconsin. So we came to check it out. We loved it. And when we came to visit, it was not winter. So we made that decision without knowing. But I mean, it's good. It's good. I no regrets. 20 years. This is home for us, and it's been such a blessing being here. But yeah.
Good. Yeah, my wife and I have two different views about dentists. I'm very grateful for a dentist to do what you said earlier, relieve my pain. And I am fascinated about how quickly a dentist can turn, your pain into relief. That's always been amazing. But other than that, I do my best to avoid your kind. Uh, my wife, on the other hand, she just loves it. She'd be there every month if it was up to her getting her teeth cleaned and like that. So we have a little bit different views. In fact, she's always told me that if she knew a little bit more about the opportunities, that she kind of wish she would have become a dentist. But you're not practicing dentistry anymore. You still have a dentistry. You still have a practice. How did you go from practicing dentistry to being the CEO of something that goes beyond, I would imagine, one location?
Yeah, I guess it was part of a decision I had to make. I love dentistry. I love the clinical aspect of dentistry. It's very difficult to do both. And what I wanted to create was I basically started the business out of frustration, seeing how dentistry was becoming more investor backed and more about the business and less about the people. I saw how big corporations were coming in, acquiring small practices and changing dentistry.
Are you talking mostly about private equity?
Yeah, private equity backed. I mean, they're not all bad. Of course, there are some great groups, and I know some of the leaders in the industry, of course, but it was not like the majority of transactions were very. It was very cold and was changing dentistry. So what I wanted to do was to just do something different, just try to preserve dentistry. So I started a small DSO, which at the beginning, my goal was always to just make one practice great. Then that led to another practice and another practice. We acquired 17 practices in 9 years. And my goal is to still, we are a DSO, but we are family owned. We are not, we just try to preserve our independence so we can continue to do dentistry the way we do, like see dentistry as a tool. That's what we do. We use dentistry as an instrument to improve the lives of people, like not only with our dentistry, but with our other talents, which are like listening to the patient, building relationships, and just see people as gifts. That's what we do. We can talk more about that. I guess.
Before you and I started recording this podcast, I think it was on our telephone call earlier when we were, just working to see if this would be something good for you and for our listeners. And obviously we agreed that it would be. You did talk a lot about some things that really interested me. One of the things that you were concerned about is that people would see this as a conversation with a dentist. And that this conversation is going to go much higher and deeper and wider than dentistry. So making that point, you've already said a mouthful, which I took notes as fast as I could. I already got questions for you. When you said, and I quote, difficult to do both, I assume what you mean was to not only be working with patients, but also leading these practices where you would want them to go, and seeing them as you're either doing one or you're doing the other. And they almost, you didn't say this, but I think what I heard is that they both deserve a full-time effort, if you will. And then you transitioned, Daniel, into this idea of you didn't kind of see, you didn't like what you were seeing in the movement, in the dental movement. And frankly, we could probably say in a lot of different types of applications, not just dentistry. I have a lot of clients who would say a very similar thing to you. Let's just make fun of it for a minute. I started making pizzas because of this reason, and they became so good that somebody had a vision for these pizzas beyond what my vision was, or at least not to the expense of changing what we were trying to do, in the beginning. So with that said, a thought came to my mind: metrics. Let me ask you this, because you were talking about the cold part of it, which is, whenever I hear cold, I don't just think of how someone treats somebody, but I think about how we look at that bottom line, and the bottom line is what drives a business. The bottom line is what drives a leader. It's what drives decision. Sounds to me like that was a tension point for you. It's not like you were ridding yourself of profit. It's not a good business if it doesn't have profit. But it sounds to me like what you were saying is that maybe even your metrics themselves. Well, let me ask you this: how have your metrics changed over the years? How are they different than they were before, or at least how you look at them?
The difference, I think, is that is how you see the business, right? So the business, in my view, should be your vehicle, an instrument for you to do something good for the world, to use the business as a tool to impact the lives of people, the lives of your employees, the life that people the business touches. The reason why you have the responsibility to build a profitable business is because you have to preserve this tool. You have to advance this tool, the good things that you're doing. So I always tell people, we're moved by love, not by greed. So we continue to advance this business and making it even greater because we love our mission. We believe that the people that are touched by us are in a better position than if they will be touched by another business that don't see people as gifts, that don't value their talents, and they don't want to see them grow and succeed. They're just there for the bottom line. But for me, the bottom line is
Daniel,
important.
what does that practically look like? We're moved by love and not by greed.
What does it look like?
Yeah,
That
practically.
what motivates us, what moves us to make decisions is not money, is not the fact that we have to get bigger and create wealth, is to advance our mission. So it's a profitable business, but it has a mission first. It's a mission-driven business, and it's led by our values, right? So our value system that we have. I don't know if that answers your question, but
yeah. Can I continue to dig at that a little bit?
Please.
So what is your mission? And share at least a few values that support that mission.
Yeah. The mission of Mercy Dental Group is to create a positive impact in the lives of people using our talents, which one of them is dentistry, as I said, but only one of them. We have a lot more to offer as people. Dentistry is kind of our tool, our vehicle into people's lives to start people building relationships. We care more about the patient as a person than what we can get out of them. They're not just our clients, but we see them as gift. And that's what I'm trying to, like I always remind my staff, this is like the person you have in front of you is unique and talented and a gift for us. It could be anywhere else in the world right now and is here in front of you. It could be spending time they could be spending time with their family. They could be doing many other things or just visiting another dentist. So it's an honor to have this person. And if you see, I talk about that in my book, right? When I talk about my values and all that. The book is title is The Leader Humanity Needs.
It's good.
And yeah, the leader humanity needs is actually the reader, right? So I'm encouraging people to use their talents to just lead the world to a better a better place. And if we all do that with this set of values that are based in the leadership of Jesus, if everyone behaves like that or sees or has this vision, the world will be a better place.
Yeah, let me jump on that. Let me just join you with that. I was sharing on the podcast earlier that I was recording that I've been doing a little project in the margin, the time that I've set, for to concentrate and let God work on me, is I've been reading through the Gospel of Luke, and not that I'm a red letter only guy, because I'm not, but I just had this idea that I wanted to read through Luke, but this time I wanted to write out everything that Jesus said in the Gospel of Luke. And I got to, I think it's like the 6th chapter, where Luke gives his version of the Sermon of the Mount, which is mostly known in Matthew 5. For some reason, the way Luke's style of writing is that once I got to that, it was a massive turn. It was a massive contrast, that when one pays attention, the teachings of Jesus are radical. And it got into this part about how you deal with your enemies, and how you deal with those that are against you or opposed you or have done you wrong or wounded you. And I'm telling you that it was just so convicting. And if anybody wants to be a leader and they think that I'm just being religious in what I'm saying, I just really challenge them to read the teachings of Jesus, and you tell yourself what kind of a leader you would be if you actually did what Jesus said. Now, of course, I'll say that I don't think you can do it without God the Spirit residing in us. And even then, there's a battle between that and my flesh wanting to do, what I wanted to do. But so this book that you've written is really based upon how Jesus led. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. So, and let me tell you how I came up with this. When I experienced this exponential growth, right? So I knew I had to do something, because at the beginning I had influenced my team, we had like 4 employees only, and one location. And the second location, I would just still go to both places, and I was just like making sure that everyone that the patients were treating with dignity, and then everyone was treating each other the way I envisioned. But then when it started growing to multiple locations, I could not be everywhere and influence every team. So I had to create a system where I will be able to just be in more than one place. And what I thought was, well, I have to create more leaders, but not just people in leadership positions, but people in every position. Because everyone has, I'm convinced that everyone has a unique set of talents, a unique set of experiences. And if you turn those into tools and values, you can make a positive impact in the workplace, and therefore in the patient experience and all that. So, but how do you form leaders? I just I thought, I have to base my leadership values in the greatest leadership of a leader of all humanity, the history of humanity, which I believe is Jesus. So what were the aspects of the leadership of Jesus that I wanted to just convey, or I wanted people to reflect in the workplace? And I came up with this 7 marks of leadership, which are integrity, respect, positivity, empathy, teamwork, service, and humility. We are a secular organization. We're not necessarily a religious organization, of course, a private enterprise. So I kind of like took those values and turned them into just, I don't know, like more of secular message, but they are all there based on Jesus. So I'm kind of like preaching God without necessarily preaching him out loud. In the book, I tell the story and reasons why I believe those values are what made Jesus's leadership more like very impactful.
Yeah, that's great.
Great leaders don't ignore their past, they learn from it. Every decision you've made, every mistake, every win, every failure, it's all shaping the leader you're becoming. In Story, the art of learning from your past, you'll discover how to turn experience into wisdom, setbacks into strategy, and pain into purpose. This isn't just a book about reflection, it's a playbook for growth. If you want to lead with clarity, humility, and confidence, your story matters. Learn from it. Grab your copy of Story, The Art of Learning from Your Past, where books are sold.
I know that we understand what you're saying because I've been in dental offices, and again, those of you listening to this podcast, we're talking about dentistry because that's the physical location, at least in part, that Daniel is leading. But these principles apply really anywhere. I've been in the dental chair and many dentistries, and it felt like a meat shop. It felt like a transaction, very schedule driven, and to be honest, a lot of times the actual work reflected, the pace in which the office operated. I remember one dentist, I forget his name, but he attended my church in Colorado. He actually worked for one of those, what I would call meat shops, butcher shops. Crude to say, but he was different in the midst of all of it. And I sent him a card thanking him and reminding him that he is making a difference in the community, by the way he talks to people, the way he treats people. He may not have a lot to say outside of his little, place where he worked. But, he sought me out several weeks later with tears in his eyes, telling me that not only did he appreciate the card, but that he had a vision to start his own practice, kind of based on some of the things that he felt, deep in his heart. I think that's kind of what you're talking about. And then there's been offices that I've gone to that I felt, these people do care. Sometimes I just hired a new attorney recently, and I'm not sure how he's handling the relationship on the front end. I'm going to, when I see him again, which will be in a few weeks, I'm gonna talk to him a little bit about how one can balance. You know what? In fact, while you were talking, I was thinking about a book that I'm reading right now, Daniel. It's one of my clients. I was just in St. Louis last week, which was really cold, by the way, probably just as cold as Wisconsin.
Wow.
It might have been even colder. I mean, it was really cold. Anyway, I was working with a group of about 50 leaders there, working through some of the stuff that we do at Lead Today and the Today Count Show. But the guy who hosted it handed me this book. He gifted me this book. And for those on YouTube, you can see that I'm holding up a book, and it's entitled Unreasonable Hospitality. It's about the restaurant business. And it's been fascinating. I'm only about, looks like, I don't know, maybe a third or a quarter way through, but it's a page turner because the book in different language and a different culture is really talking in similar ways, the way that you're speaking, today, where you're really thinking about the people who come and visit you. And it's interesting to me too, because when I teach about people skills, a lot of business folks see that as what they call soft skills. But in my experience, I have found it to be actually difficult, hard skills, because it's not a ploy. It's not a piece of candy, that you give somebody. It starts on the inside, where one has to ask the question, do I even really care, about other people? You use the word empathy, or being what is an empathic leader.
And if you think about it, like, when you go to a restaurant, for example, you're going for a good experience, to have a good time. people go to the dentist. Like most people are like you, Jim. People don't necessarily like the dentist, or they expect it. They're afraid. They had a bad
Oh,
experience
that's what it
before. So,
is. No, that's what it is. I'm afraid of pain.
yeah, exactly. And believe me, because as much as I love dentistry myself, I don't love to be a patient. I don't like going to a dental office
That's
as a
good for us to
patient.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just true. And then we have to kind of like, this is a great opportunity to be empathetic, to just think, you know, because it can become very like, we're trained to do procedures, right? So we have to just make sure that everything, there is a lot that we have to think, and the science behind it, what we're doing
Mhm.
in this patient's mouth. And it can become very mechanic, very like focus on the procedure, and you forget about the person,
Like we're
right?
not, yeah, like
So
we're not even there, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So you're just, and you're thinking of your next patient and the patient before and all that. So that's why I like to emphasize that fact that someone like this person is here and is gifting you something that cannot, like, this patient cannot make more of, which is time. Time is life. He's choosing to be here. It's an honor to be. I mean, right now we're having this conversation. You're the only Jim Piper in the history of humanity. There has not been one before, one after. So it's an honor to be here with you, right? Like, I want to make sure that the time that you're investing with me here is valuable. I give you something, I gift you something that you know, don't have, which is my experience in my life, and the same with you. I receive you the same way. So it is the same with the patient experience. It is way more than just dentistry. And I have my job here is basically to remind people, as a CEO, of what we stand for, what we that what is this, relationship with your patient. Just use your talents. It's an honor to be able to do what you love, and also make a positive impact in the lives of someone. What a gift, right? So we want to be good stewards of God's riches. As this business belongs to God first, and that's what we want to do. And
Let me ask you a few more questions that I think you'll enjoy answering, and it'll be insightful for us. What one of them is just informational. So when you go to dental school, obviously you learn how to, be a dentist, do the work of a dentist, be a doctor.
mhm.
And I know you learn much more than what's inside my mouth. Some of the dentists I know, friends, extremely knowledgeable as doctors, period.
That's right.
And of course, every physician has their specialty. But when you went to dental school, how much of dental school teaches you how to run a dental office?
Almost zero, at least in my. And I know that is part of the problem that we see with what we were describing earlier about the DSOs and the private equity back. Like, they see a business that is profitable, and they just run it as a business. So, and also the new dentists face a lot of challenges that at first they don't have the training. Like in dental school, we spend most of our time learning how to do dental procedures. I took, like, there's a semester that you just it depends on the dental school you go, because there are some of our dentists that recent graduates, they say, well, they don't cover that much, and there's not a lot of interest either. There's not a lot of interest. So, but then they also face a lot of other challenges, which are like, becoming a dentist is very expensive. You just have to acquire a large debt. So going out of dental school and going into business right away is not the best financial decision, because they don't know how to run the business, and they have to acquire even more debt. So that's creating a perfect scenario for the DSO world to flourish, right? So what I'm trying to do is to provide, another option, but also encouraging other business leaders or people that are entrepreneurial, that love dentistry, to just do what I do. Influencing the industry is another one of my missions. But yeah, so it's very challenging. Like, we don't receive a lot of business training.
I'll come back to that in a minute. All right. So okay, you really are a CEO. It's not. I mean, your business has expanded. It's complicated. Let me start with you. How do you keep yourself as a leader healthy? Because you can't give what you don't have. What advice would you give other leaders in the sense of how you keep yourself healthy so that you can expand, so that the overflow of your life, is a blessing to others?
I have the gift of faith, and that is something that I am, of course, eternally grateful, and I don't feel I deserve this. Like when I think about, you know, my faith and my relationship with God is such a gift, right? Like, and actually, when I see around and see other people that don't have that gift, I just don't think I deserve it, because really I did nothing to earn it, right? So I did nothing to just earn this beautiful gift, but that keeps me grounded, that keeps me grateful, and that's something that is gives me energy. People ask me, how do you do all these things? You keep acquiring practices, you write books, you do your men's program or whatever it is, like all the things that I do. And my answer is always the same. I just feel grateful, and I feel like I need to do something with this gift. God has given me a huge gift, and I want to just honor the gift and use the talents and all that. So that is one way. My prayer life is super important for me. That's how I start. But also understanding that just suffering and discomfort are part of the things that we will face no matter what, right? So I kind of like, one thing that helps me a lot is just to have a disciplined life in terms of my fitness or nutrition and all that stuff. I use those things as a source of self-denial to just keep me grounded, to just um, become more of a sacrificial leader. I am more of a servant than I guess a master. I'm here to serve my people. That also keeps my mind like healthy. I'm not as important. My role is, I'm the CEO of the company, but I'm not more important than the dental assistant at a dental practice. I just have a different job. So I need people. And the other aspect of this is that knowing that I don't know it all, and I need talented people in my life. And I have been blessed by the immense talent that joined my organization, and that makes my life way easier. I The company is way larger than when I started, but I feel like I work less. I have more time because I have so many talented people that are so convicted and so committed to our mission, that I guess that's either part of like my talent, but also God's gift in my life, that He's
That's
brought the right people.
that's good. Talk to me about the kind of people that you look for to join your organization.
So we start everything. We're being a value driven company. We seek people that are aligned with those values, right? So I mentioned people with integrity. Integrity is first. People that understand that everyone is unique, that we, like the respect people. People that see that have positivity in their lives. Positivity is so important. And positivity, I always clarify this, is not pretending that everything is good, but understanding that even the difficult moments in our lives make us better, make us greater, and there are opportunities to grow. I want to challenge people too. Every time I interview, or I don't interview for every position anymore, but for the positions of leadership that I interview and hire, I always tell people, like, I'm not here to convince you to join this company. I want you to tell me to how you will make us even greater. How are your talents align with what we do, but also like what are you bringing to the table? I want to challenge people. People right now, especially in this competitive market, we have a lot of people are hiring people like selling this position, right? So, and telling you, oh, this is a great organization and whatever it is, and we have these benefits or whatever. Yeah, you should join us. My take is a little bit, I guess, different because I tell them that we are not perfect. If you think that you're walking into a perfect organization, we're not. But the difference is that we strive for perfection, right? So today we have to be better than yesterday, and tomorrow that will be better than today. But how are you going to be part of this, making us better tomorrow?
Daniel, how do you approach, correct, coach, whatever the right word is, behaviors that you see in your organization that have drifted off of the values, that you try to inject into your culture?
Well, we have to address them right away. That's first step for sure. But there are always conversations, right? So we don't give up easily on people. We understand that people can make mistakes and that we are all growing. As long as we see and when we address situations like that, which we have, we ask for, how are we moving from here? What are you planning to do? First, humility is one of our values, is the king of all virtues, I call it. But it is part of like acknowledging. I'm looking always for that moment of, yeah, I made this mistake and this is how I'm going to fix it, apologizing or whatever it is. We have had situations like that. Can think of one important like position, like a manager at a dental office, that she made a mistake that we had to address, and she immediately, she did not defend herself. She was very like, yes, I made this mistake and I will fix it, and this is, and did it in a very humble way, and we're all for that. So yeah, addressing the situation as soon as possible, and also using our values to get out of it.
One more question before we sign off. So what would you, this may not be fair because I'm just dropping it on you. You probably got more than one, but in regards to how far you've come, right? You've come a long way. You've accomplished amazing things. We'll make sure that we get your websites in our show notes so that they can really see how vast your offerings are, well beyond dentistry. I don't want to call it the business side, but I don't know what else to call it. So that's what I call it, because it's all business. But getting to where you're at today versus where you were on the business side of thing. Remember the question I asked you? How much did they teach you in dental school about running a business? And you said, there was a semester about something. So there really wasn't much of anything. What would you say has been the most important lesson you've learned in the CEO seat and building a financially stable organization?
Yeah, the most important lesson I have learned is that numbers or success in the financial sense are a result of a great culture, like creating a culture. It sounds a little irresponsible for someone business minded, because it's not that we make blind decisions or we ignore the business side of this, but again, it's understanding, or the way you see the business, and the importance of the profitable business is to preserve your mission, to believing in the mission is the first step. Believing in what you do, because I follow that mission too. Like, I'm inspired by the mission. The mission is greater than me. The mission is greater than everyone else. So it's not my business. Yeah, technically it's my business, but I also serve the business. So we are all united in this, but the business is just a tool. It's just an instrument. So I have been able to create a very successful, profitable business without thinking too much on the numbers, or at least thinking of the numbers as tools, as the way we preserve our mission.
I really like that idea that it might not be exactly how you said it, but you kind of see profit as fuel, and fuel is so important to empower the mission.
That's right.
And so it's a necessary part of it, but it's not the focus. The focus is the mission, and there are some practical things that you have to have in order for the mission to continue to be successful and expand.
Yeah. And our staff, because it's hard when you, if you think about it, I mean, in my industry, production means someone's pain or someone's procedure you have to do on a patient. It's just so how do you increase production? It's not like we're not selling a product necessarily. We have to take care of people. So if you get too focused on production, that means that you have to upcharge your patient, or that will affect your patient care. So that is the difference. But yeah, seeing the business as a tool, like being efficient with our times and all that, just that. But the ultimate goal, enhancing the patient experience, will bring more business.
Daniel, one more time, what is the name of your book, and what website do you want to give us? And we'll put everything else in your show notes.
Yeah, the name of the book is The Leader Humanity Needs. It's right here. I have it here.
Oh, yeah, hold that up, at least for those watching on YouTube.
Yeah, The Leader Humanity Needs. And it's calling people to be light in the darkness. That's why you see the sun overcoming the darkness. That is The Leader Humanity Needs, which is the reader. And
they can get that on Amazon, I assume?
Yes, on Amazon or Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
Everywhere. Yeah, but and my website, you can go to my personal website, which is my name and last name, DanielTataje.com.
And Tataje is spelled Tataje.
Yeah. And then from there, you can just see everything I'm connected with, the Mercy Dental Group, Lumen Enterprises, Mercy Dental Missions, which is our nonprofit arm. We do mission trips and a lot of fun stuff with them, serving people that are underserved populations. And you can see also all the nonprofit work I do.
Daniel, it was so great having you on the show, and maybe we'll check back in another year and see how things are going, and have you back on. Thank you for being with us today.
No, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Thanks for spending part of your day with us on the Today Count Show. If today's conversation encouraged you, challenged you, or helped you grow, share it with someone in your circle, because we're better when we grow together. And be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with us on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And remember, real change doesn't happen someday. It happens today. Until next time, keep showing up, keep building, keep making today count.